Hello and good afternoon friends, welcome to the CEC Reset live lecture. Dear friends, from today onwards we are going to start a new series on software engineering, and because this is the first lecture in this series, so today we are going to get overview on software engineering. We are trying to grab through this lecture that what actually software engineering is, what are the aspects behind the software engineering, and for this we have again with us in our studios Dr. U.S. Pandey. Dr. U.S. Pandey is an Associate Professor in Department of Computer Sciences, School of Open Learning, University of Delhi, and with the help of this EduSet platform, he keeps on delivering, he keeps on exchanging, he keeps on sharing information which is helpful to the students of computer sciences. So without wasting any time, I would like to welcome our guest Dr. U.S. Pandey, and let's, under his able guidance, let's try to understand, let's try to take overview of software engineering. Hello sir, welcome to the EduSet lecture.
Thank you. Let's start. What do you mean by the software engineering? Software engineering is the field of computer science. It's a very important in so many ways. So just try to understand what do you mean by the software engineering is. The key ingredients in the successful organization is a people, a technology, and a process. So in a customer you can see this people and the technology, the process, how all kind of three subsets and all individually is interacting. That is the major thing in an organization. How the technology is going to be useful, how the people are making use of the technology, using the processes, and how the each and everything is going to be benefited. That was the basic concept where the things are going. Now, what is a software? As you know, the software which is containing the different kind of informations what we are putting in a different way is going to be named that. Now, how we are going to be defined this kind of activity? The software products may be developed for a particular customer or may be developed for a general market or for a particular job to be done. Now try to understand, the software products can be developed for a specific purpose as well as it could be for an individual purpose, or it may be in a different way also. Let me explain in a little bit more different way what the software products may be. It could be generic, COTS, developed to be sold to a range of different customer. Custom, developed for a customer according to their specification. Now just try to understand, there are many big software industries which are developing the software taking in the mind the general people, general organization. Like you may be knowing, many big software industries are developing a software which is going to be used by any kind of organization. Another thing is, if you are working in a particular organization and you want to develop some kind of software particularly for your organization, keeping in the mind some kind of the security or some kind of different aspects, then you can customize those softwares. Take an example, suppose you have bought some software, it could be Oracle, it could be any other different kind of software packages or any other software which are available in the market. Buying this kind of software, it could be a Tally also, it could be any application based activity software which is developed for general purpose, and in your own organization you can customize according to your requirements. How this customization is going to be done? In this kind of software there is a facility to do the little bit of programming, different kind of processes can be inbuilt, and number of other things can be used using these software. So these software have been developed, and these softwares utilizing these good techniques you can customize according to your requirement. For example, if you are using a Tally software and you want that in each and every receipt your organization's name is going to be printed. For you, a different kind of ledger is going to be maintained. Each and everything can be inbuilt in that particular software itself. The same Tally software can be used by another organization. Using those techniques, they can develop, they can customize according to their own requirement. So, what I mean to say that there are different kind of software which have been developed, you can customize accordingly, or even if want, you can go for in-house development also. For organization who is much more secure, they do not want to access the information outside, or providing lot of things individually to the organization, they can go for that particular development also. Now, what is engineering? As you know, engineering is the application of scientific principles and methods to the construction of useful structures and machines. Example, very much you are knowing mechanical engineering, which is all each and everything discussing about the mechanical part of any machine. Computer engineering, you are very well aware that the all aspects related to the computers are going to be discussed, are going to be taught, are going to be lectured in the area of computer engineering. In the same way, civil engineering is another area. All kind of constructions and different kind of activities related to the civil construction or civil designing, civil development, these kind of areas are going to be covered in the civil engineering. So, as different parts of other engineering departments are going to be there, take another example, it could be a chemical engineering, another it could be a electrical engineering. What I mean to say that the different areas and aspects have been defined by giving different name. It could be a nuclear engineering, it could be aeronautical engineering, where all aeronautical activities are going to be discussed, nuclear related activities are going to be discussed in a different platform. Then what is a software engineering is? The term is 35-year-olds, NATO conferences, Garmisch, Germany, in October 17 to 11, 1968 the term came, Rome, Italy, October 27 to 31 in 1969. The reality is, it is finally beginning to arrive. Computer science, one of the scientific basis, years of studies, experience, statistics provided basis to. Many aspects have been made systematic. Now, how this software engineering terminology has come, as you may be knowing, computer science is an area where lot of aspects related to the computers is going to be discussed, but the area is related with many other subjects also. As may be knowing, it is containing lot of electronics, physics, mathematics, as well as other subjects related to the commerce and accounts, and many other subjects are also related in that way. Many aspects which have been discussed in a systematic way, the methods, methodologies, techniques, tools and processes. So, you can understand the different kind of tools, processes and methods which have been used to develop all these kind of activities. Why engineer software? You can understand the problem is complexity. You just understand many sources, but the size is a key. Imagine Mozilla contains 3 million lines of code. Unix contain 4 million lines of code. And the Windows, which is very much in use, you understand, it's contain 10 to the power 8 lines of code. And the other software which are coming, it's containing much more higher lines of number of code. So complexity is the biggest problem, especially in the area of software. And that is why engineering need to be done in that case. Second role and the combinatories of state. Third is uncertainty of inputs and their timings. Imagine you are using software, sometimes instead of giving a particular input, you are giving some different input. So how the software is reacting, the time and so many other factors, sometimes you need to give the input in a very limited time, but you are taking your time in a different way. So what I mean to say, at this moment there are lot of provisions is going to be made, are to be made for discussing all those kind of activity which you are doing. Fourth is the continuing challenging environment and demands. In the software engineering, these are the very important factor how the computing changing environment and demands are going to be met. Software engineering is about to managing all the sources of complexity to produce effective software. Now imagine, as we have just discussed, complexity is not the only one thing. There are many uncertainties are going to be there, environment is going to be there, the demand is going to be there, and ultimately the software, a good software need to be produced. The ultimate thing is that the requirements need to be fulfilled. So discussing all these areas are going to be covered into the software engineering. Software engineering in a nutshell. Development of software systems whose size, complexity warrants team of engineers. Multi-person construction of a multi-version software, Parnas 1987. Another is a scope, study of software processes, development, management principles, techniques, tools and notations. And the goal is production of a good quality software delivered on time, within budget, satisfying customers' requirements and users' needs. That is the main objective, that you have to develop a software within the budget which have been prescribed and which satisfy the objectives of the customer or the requirements of the customer and the users also. For example, sometimes it could be that you have developed the best software, but it is not going to be used by the users properly. In other words, it is not user friendly, it is not easy to use. So that software has technically no meaning until or unless it satisfy the users who is going to use all those things. Because these softwares which have been developed for an organization should fulfill the requirements of that. Take an example, suppose railway has developed a software for doing a reservation. Now, the benefit will reach to the each individual when the software is very easy to use, user friendly. It can be understandable by all the customer. not only by the computer engineers or the persons who are very literate. So, the software should be developed and it should be designed in a such a way so that things may become very user friendly, it can be used or depending upon the requirements of the organization. It could be developing for an engineering department, but the requirements is going to be entirely different than they used to be in an educational system. So, what is the job of that software engineering? See that each and every things in a order. What is the maintenance, taking the all different kind of complexity, understandability and each and every other aspects are going to be covered. Now, what does a software engineer do? A software engineer should adopt a systematic and organized approach to all aspects of software development. Use appropriate tools and techniques depending on the problem to be solved, the development constraints and the resources available. What does the software engineer do? Understand and communicate processes for improved software development within their organization. Be effective team members and our leaders. Can be very technical or more managerial depending on the organizational need. So, the job of software engineer is very much in the field that the software is going to be used by the organization properly or to fulfill the organizational needs. Another thing is that he has to see that the software which have been developed is going to be properly used in that particular organization. Take a very simple example. If I am saying sometimes a very big software which is a very good but not going to be used or not being able to use on a small computers. So, development of some small kind of module where these things are easily available to the other systems also if possible, because that will fulfill the requirement of other individuals, although other customers also, or it could be in a different way. So, the major objective is that depending on the environment, suppose you do not have a big infrastructure, whether these softwares are going to be used or there or not, do they have the compatibility or not, can these software be installed on different environment or not. So, these kind of many aspects which is going to be seen by the software engineers. Another, what are the difficulties? Software engineering is a unique brand of engineering. Software is malleable. Software construction is human intensive. Software is intangible and generally invisible. Software problems are unprecedentedly complex. Software directly depends upon the hardware. It is at the top of the system engineering food chain. Software solutions require unusual rigor. Software state means behavior can depend upon the history. Software has discontinuous operational nature. Now, imagine this economic and management aspects of software engineering. As we have just discussed about that how these kind of softwares are going to be managed, are different kind of difficulties are faced into the development of a software. Now, software engineering is about to improved ROI, can be capital or the social. Software production is equal to development plus maintenance, as maintenance cost is 60% to 80% of all successful development cost, 20% of corrective, 12% to 16% of the total cost, and as mentioned 30% is adaptive, where 18 to 24% of the total cost, and 50 perspective 30 to 40% of the total cost. So, what I mean to say, a lot of portions is going to be developed just to maintaining the software and all different aspects of the software engineering. Quicker development is not always preferable. Higher up front cost may defray downstream cost. Poorly designed implemented software is a critical cost factor in a system cost and delays. As we have just mentioned, it is not like that if you develop a software in a very short period, it is going to be good. No, because the software development takes its usual time, and where all the requirements of the users and the organizations need to be checked whether it is satisfying the objective of the organization or fulfilling the requirements and the needs of that organization, where you are getting the properly reports of all kind of activities you want to be produced with those kind of software, the calculations you are going to get from those software which you are requiring. So, in other words, you can say that it will take the proper timings to do each and everything. So, if you customize the software within a limited time, you may not able to get the proper satisfaction. So, here it is required that you take the specific time, and after that, because testing and maintenance is another important factor in these cases. Usually when software is ready, when it is going live to each and every individually, it may have some kind of different bugs, some kind of problem. So, here testing and a different kind of maintenance is required at that stage. May need to be required some kind of changes there. So, these kind of things require a lot of time for producing a good software, and that is why we say that it will take its own time for developing a particular software when it is going to be used by the users properly. So, that is why we say that quicker development always not preferable. Sometimes you develop the software and you are not going to achieve your goal. So, that is why it is better to have a better testing using all different kind of technologies, methodologies used, the parameters of those software engineering for testing and all purpose. Another very important factor, we have told you that the poorly designed, if you have the design of that particular software is not good, it may also create a problem. For example, if you are developing a software not using the proper techniques of the software engineering, and you have not used the proper designing of that particular software, it may create a problem to you later on, or the results are not going to be there up to your expectation. So, always design a good software or use the good software which are available in the market, customize according to your requirement by using a proper team or the proper software engineers. You can see here that the relative cost of fixing software faults. Here you see the requirements, specifications, planning, designing, implementation, integration, maintenance. All the aspects are very important. What is the requirements of your organization and what is going to be there? what kind of specifications are going to be required, how you are going to do the planning, and after doing each and everything, what kind of designing is going to be preferred in this particular environment, or which kind of design is going to be the most suitable in this environment. And after designing and each and everything, the implementation. Usually what happens if you implement a particular system, this software on a particular organization, it may fulfill all its need, but sometimes it may have a different kind of problems. Then another stage, integration came. And then major thing, as we have just mentioned, that the maintenance is the biggest thing into doing each and everything, because only requirement, specifications, planning, designing, implementation and integration will not fulfill the all needs until or unless the software is maintained properly. In a very big organizations, at the time of using, due to some problem, if the software is not running fine, the maintenance is going to be there. And maintenance is the biggest problem, means it is required when you are running a good software on a particular organization. Take a simple thing that due to some problem your system is not working. So which kind of fault is going to be there? And if some fault is there related to the software, that can be, as we say, when have been implemented, something needs to be changed accordingly if there. If there is some hardware problem, why it is not supporting that kind of things, or a lot of questions may arise. These things need to be addressed. So it could be each and every part will be covered under the maintenance. So that is why saying after implementation, integration and maintenance in another important factor doing in software engineering. Now software qualities. The critical quality attributes are correctness. Correctness is going to be the very critical quality of this kind of software. Maintainability, dependability, usability and reliability. You understand that if a software have been developed, up to the correctness is a very important factor of it. And same way, how it is going to be easily maintainability. But if you are developing a software and the software is such that critically it can't be maintained, then it is not going to be called as a good software. Same thing is going to be there in the area of dependability. How much it is dependent on what, that needs to be discussed properly. The usability of the software is also a very important attribute to that where what kind of maximum use can be done. And another important factor is reliability, which is the most important, that the software should be fully reliable. Because if a software is reliable, only then it can be used in a proper organizations. So these factors are, these attributes, these critical qualities are the most important. Parameters are going to be there, like in the area of correctness, maintainability, dependability, usability and reliability. These are going to be very important factor for development of this software. Other qualities are going to be there, completeness. Take an example, if you have developed a software which is fulfilling your half of the requirement, then it is not going to be complete in doing that particular task. Take a case, suppose you are using a software which is doing each and everything, but it is not able to print something. So you can't call it a complete software. It should, when you are giving a proper input, it should provide you the facility to coming out. It is just like a case, suppose we are entering in a house, so what is the input area and what are the different kind of output area. In other way, there are many different kind of calculations and other points are going to be there, and if some software is fulfilling your half of the requirement, not the complete thing related to that, then it may not be called as good as its completeness. So, completeness is going to be other attribute which is very important. Another thing is, as we have just mentioned, compatibility. It should be compatible to the systems. Suppose, as you know, now lot of softwares are going to be there in the market. Some of them are very easily can be compatible, you can download it, you can use it on any systems. So, you have to develop software in a such a way, if you are selling into the market, so that it can be used on a laptop also, it can be used on a desktop also, it can be used in a different environment also. It is not depending upon that which kind of operating system you are also using, or if something specific is there in that particular software, it may take automatically that these things are going to be resolved. As you know, there are a lot of softwares which are coming into the market, they automatically going to be downloaded or automatically on the system. They do have a such kind of facility which is already inbuilt into those softwares. If the some software is missing on your computer system, they will install and they will do it automatically. What I mean to say that there should be a compatibility, only then the softwares can be used easily by the users or the customer or the other organization which are using it. Another important factor is portability. The portability is a very important factor, especially in the software, whether it is going to be ported anywhere or it can be used in this way or not. Another factor is internationalization. As you know that lot of softwares are there in different organizations, these are going to be used, but if you are using some kind of files in a particular organizations and some other are going to be used in a different organizations, in a third organization if you have a different kind of fields, how these things are going to be make a internalization. So, software should be used in a such a way so that these things can be make things easily. Another is understandability. The software should be developed in a such a way so that it can be understandable by the users, or if required the engineers who are going to be maintaining it. Because those parameters which have been developed for this kind of techniques must be able to understand by the engineers, by the users, by the organizations or the customer who is using. So, these kind of attributes, completeness, compatibility, portability, internalization, understandability and other parameters which are related to this must be satisfied by software qualities. Other parameters are also going to be the important thing, like scalability. Scalability, robustness is another very important factor. Testability, that these softwares need to be tested properly before going to be used. For example, what is the success rate, what kind of the quality of the results which you are producing is up to what extent it is correct. Are other factors, whether you are using the correct techniques to produce the result, each and everything to be done properly. Reusability is another very important factor of any software. As you understand, these softwares need to be having this kind of quality that they can use reusability and all other factors also. Customizability. Software must have this kind of facility that it can customize things properly. And another is efficiency. It should be very much efficient. For example, if you take a particular software, if you are calculating something and you have given the input and it takes too much time to deliver the result, it is not going to be the use in that way. Or in a different way you can take it like that, the reusability. Suppose sometimes you see in the software when you are typing something, anything related to that automatically comes in front of you. It is too easy for you to understand the thing, and you can pick up there and you can make use of that. Sometimes when you need to type a particular item number of times, so these softwares must have a facility that if you have done some activity at one time, need not to go be repeated that thing number of times. What I mean to say is all these parameters, it could be scalability, robustness, testability and different parameters as we have just mentioned. If a software is satisfying, only then that software is going to be called as a good software. I am just taking a simple example. Sometimes when you are working with a computer system, undoubtedly sometimes you are fed up with the system, sometimes you do some kind of wrong activity with your system by pushing of your whole hand on the keyboards. Imagine a software which is running very fine, if you give the wrong input or if you use some kind of different keys at one time, how should react these computers, how the software is going to respond you in all these things. So these kind of facility, just to recover from all these kind of activity, the system must have the proper facility to just come out with all kind of activity. Take another example, you are running a software and due to some power failure, your light has gone or some other kind of, so system must have a facility so that it will recover from the last activity. Not only this, if you are working in a networking environment, sometimes you have just completed your half of the task and then due to some reason your network is lost, what will happen to that task? So the system must have the facility to recover those kind of facility. Not only these things, imagine nowadays almost everywhere an online payment system is there, full-fledged banking environment is working, different kind of M-governance or e-governance activities are taking places. There is a possibility of lot of errors. Imagine how to come up with all. That too, not only working in a standalone, you are coming in a networking environment. As we have just mentioned, you have just bought something, making a payment. In the payment processing, due to bandwidth or some other kind of problem, you are not able to make the payment. Or sometimes you made the payment, but that payment does not reach to that particular organization. So I am just trying to mention some of the problems which may occur, and if these problems are going to be addressed by the software properly, then only these kind of things can be accepted. You can imagine all these parameters take care of all these things. As we have just mentioned, if you are not able to, your payment is being accepted or your money has been deducted from your account, but is not reaching to the customer or it not reaches to the merchant who has just is supposed to deliver, in between that software will take care each and everything that who has made the payment and it has not reached to the merchant properly, the money will be immediately returned back to you. The proper addressing system is going to be maintained. So it is happening. So what I mean to say that the softwares need to address each and every fault in that case also. As nowadays things are much more depending upon those softwares, so these softwares must take care about all those things. You may be very much using the different kind of operating system, maybe you are knowing all your historical records are going to be maintained by your operating system environment. What you have done tomorrow, what you have done yesterday, and before that what you are planning for tomorrow, that is also going to be need to be addressed by these software. And what is happening is the moment you write some command, it expects by your historical background what you are just planning to do next. So what I mean to say is each and everything needs to be clear very properly by these softwares. In the same way, in the different organizations, the activity which you are performing, Sometimes if you have performed some job, that computer tells you that this job you have already done. So, if you want to do something related to that, that kind of features and each and every other aspects are going to be addressed by the software. So, these are the few examples which I need to say that what are the different kind of software qualities going to be there in that way. External versus internal qualities. As we have just mentioned that sometimes of software as a user I am looking from outside, internally how the software is going to be there, and externally because there are two views. From external side as a user I am using, as a customer I am using, as an organizational leads I am using, but as I mentioned these are the biggest software containing lots of lines of codes are going to be there. Internally they do have an entirely different look. So, what are the different qualities need to be seen externally as well as internally. So, external qualities are visible to the user. So, what is important thing in that way is reliability. The software which you are using is reliable. The software which you are using is what is going to be the usability of that particular software is. How much that software is reliable, that need to be tested, that need to be checked, the techniques which have been used in that kind of things. So, here that thing is a very important factor. Only then anybody can be satisfied that the reliability of the software. Usability, how much it is user friendly, how much easily it is going to be used, efficiency maybe, how much efficient it is. As we have just mentioned that even if there is a very good software, response is not efficient, the calculation is not efficient, the proper other activity is not efficient, externally it should look that the system is responding very fine. Robustness is going to be there. Scalability, as we mentioned, it is very important from outside, it look that the system is very good. Internal qualities of a concerned developers, they help developers achieve external qualities. As we have just mentioned that from external point of view, we just see those parameters we have just discussed. To achieve those kind of goal, internally we have to see that verifiability. In the software development, we have see that the maintainability is another important factor, up to what extent we can maintain it and what are the factors, how the things can be done easily. Extensionability, for a particular software which have been developed, whether a different kind of provisions are going to be there or not. If we want to extend something, this software for a different purpose, or take an example, if you have some particular software developed where you can produce 10 types of reports. This kind of provision must be there if the customer requirement is different, if they required more than 25 reports. So, the software must be capable to do, or there should be some facility where some kind of additions can be done. This kind of extension facility must be available, or in that particular software if you need to attach some more module or different kind of other operations need to be performed, those kind of facility must be inbuilt into those kind of softwares. Another is evolvability, that internally it must be evolve each and everything. If the requirement is going to be there, that system can be changed accordingly. Now, internal and external qualities, another is adaptability. As we have just mentioned that these kind of qualities, when you say only for that purpose, in external as internal qualities, this must be there, that the software must be properly adaptive. portability, we have just mentioned that portability is another very important factor. The software is going to be of no use if it is not going to be ported properly onto the system. As we know, different kind of softwares are coming, in different kind of softwares are coming, different kind of environments are going to be there, and this development is going to be successful only when these kind of softwares can be portable on the different system. Very simple example you can have. Take a simple example, if you are developing any kind of application software which can be downloaded easily on a laptop, the same software can be used on a desktop also, or the same software is easily going to be used on a mobile phone also. Now imagine the same thing you are doing at all different environment, different devices. So these kind of facility must be provided by these kind of software industries. And as you know, now even take a simple example, if you are running in a Windows environment, if you are just developing a simple PPT, PowerPoint presentation, or using the Microsoft Office, you can do it through your laptop, you can do through your desktop or any other kind of different environment. Not only this, you can do it on your mobile phones also. So now you can see the portability or other kind of factors are going to be there. So different kind of adaptability facility that easily it can be used in any environment. So what is going to be the good in that particular software? Beside that, as we have just mentioned, testability and reusability is another important factor. Reusability in any software, it could be externally or it could be internally, is going to be the more important. In the internal, testing is also another important factor. From a user point of view, it is going to be different, but internally if a software, these parameters must be satisfied properly. Product versus process qualities. Now product qualities concern the developed artifacts. As I mentioned, maintainability is the biggest thing in any kind of product. Performance is going to be another factor. Now what is happening when you are developing a software, how much maintenance is required and how much the maintainability this kind of software could be like that, that is also a very important factor. Take a very simple example, if somebody buy a software in an organization, there may be a facility for a software engineer may be there, or a technical person is there, he may be able to understand, maintain some things. But whether your software is there which automatically maintains itself, as you know, now lot of softwares are available where online help is there, as well as there are a lot of tips and FAQs are there, where if you get some kind of minor problem, you can repair it, you can maintain it, or some software is already inbuilt into the system which take automatically the care of all those things. So these factors are very important in this process qualities, or it could be a product in that way. Performance is another very important factor, as we mentioned, how the system is performing up to whether it is meeting your all expectations or not, all the requirements are going to be met by these kind of things or not, that is also a very important thing. Understandability, because that is also a very important factor, maintainability, performance and understandability. Another thing is that the process qualities deals with the development activity. Products are developed through different processes, as we have just given that maintainability. Now another is productivity. In the process of that productivity, how the things are going to be developed. And another important thing is predictability also, because when you are developing a software, lot of different things come into the process. In that way, what kind of things can be predicted, or what kind of other different kind of modules can be done, or different kind of activity can be done, those kind of things will come into the same process. Another software quality, as we have just mentioned in the beginning, correctness. It should be an ideal quality established with respect to the requirements and specification. Take example that what is your objective, what is the goal of your organization, it should work in that direction properly, and it should meet your requirement and specification purposely, and it should do the absolute work, the quality which you want, the specification which you want, each and everything is going to be maintained into that. So, what is going to be there is you can meet accordingly and properly in that system, you can do it like that. So, what is the different kind of other activity is going to be there that you can meet with the terms of the software engineering, the quality, correctness as well as the different kind of adaptability is going to be there. Now, as we have just mentioned, the different kind of relative cost and fixing, as we have just mentioned about the requirements, the attributes and the different kind of other aspects which have been met here, externally, internally are going to be there, and the product quality concerns the developed effects, that maintenance is going to be there, maintainability, productivity and predictability is going to be there. The correctness, as we have just mentioned, the different ideal quality, establishment with respect to the requirements, specifications and the different absolute value. Some of the important factor that is called reliability is going to be the very important. Reliability in the sense that the statistical property which is satisfying your software properly, probability that software will operate as expected over a given period of time, relative is going to be there, and as we have mentioned, robustness, which is another important factor which is going to be there, which can be used into that properly. Reasonably behavior in unseen circumstances, it could be a subjective also, or a specified requirements is an issue of correctness, and an unspecified requirements of an robustness activities are going to be there. Another important factors are usability, which we have just told you about, that usability is another important thing. Ability of end users to easily use software, extremely subjective. As we have just mentioned, these parameters are very important in the sense, if you have developed a very good software and it has not the ability to use by the end user properly, then that software is technically have not doing the correct thing. Correct thing means the objective is not going to be fulfilled. As we have just mentioned, maybe you have developed a very good software, but that software is not very user friendly. You may be knowing people are using a different kind of operating system. Maybe some of operating systems are very good, but as you know, you may be preferring Windows. Why? It's too user friendly, easy to understand. Without learning anything, knowing anything about that, easily you can handle the computer system. Many other good operating systems are there, but those softwares are being handled not by all the users. Maybe specific users are going to handle all those. Same thing happens in many other software industries also. Lot of good software packages are available easily. Some of them are not very user friendly. Some of them are using graphics to present all those things. So, these things are very important factors, correctness, reliability, usability, that up to what expectations are going to be made of the users. So, there is few qualities are going to be there, and for today it is going to be all the related that we have learned about the qualities, software engineering. What do you mean by software engineering? What is engineer into the software? What are the different parameters which are going to be discussed as difficulties? We have discussed about all those things, the different properties of that software qualities we have just discussed, and thank you for this.
With this note, thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. As we got deep insight into the topic, that is software engineering. So far, we haven't covered topics and the subjects like we have covered today. I hope that all the students who might have watched this lecture would be benefited from it, and I hope you would be planning to study more and more on software engineering. Then you don't need to be worried about that, because very soon we are going to conduct more lectures on software engineering, so that it becomes convenient for you to get more and more knowledge on this particular topic. Dear friends, if you want to give your feedback regarding this particular topic, then you can mail us at info.cec@nic.in, and if you have any queries or any questions to be answered, then also you can mail us at info.cec@nic.in. We would love to solve your queries the next time when Dr. U.S. Pandey visit our studio. And if you want to access this particular lecture, then you can definitely surf it with the help of YouTube, as very soon we are going to upload this lecture on YouTube, so that you can see the lecture number of times you wanted, and for other lectures also you may log on our website as well as on the YouTube. So we would be meeting again very soon. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.